Hello and welcome to Cosmic Audio. My name is James and this is the first in our series of informational videos in which we'll be reviewing equipment for recording studios, instruments and software, and hosting interviews with a number of bands, solo artists and producers, discovering how we work with them to get the sound they need when they visit us for their recording and mixing sessions. For our first video, we will be reviewing the Drawmer CMC2 Monitor Controller. This is a newly released active monitor controller featuring 2 stereo inputs, 1 auxiliary input and 2 outputs, plus a sub out and various other switchable settings such as phase reverse, mono and dim. Firstly, the unit itself. It comes in a well packaged box alongside its instruction manual and power supply. The instruction manual features all the usual helpful information needed to get started, but also a helpful section at the end on mix checking tips, explaining how to use the phase reverse and mono buttons on the CMC2, as well as other techniques which may improve the quality of your work. The monitor controller itself is a very sturdy metal unit. When we first got our hands on it, we were pleasantly surprised by how heavy it was, hoping this was a sign of good build quality. Surely enough, we weren't let down. All of the buttons and knobs on the CMC2 are of a very high quality, with just the right amount of resistance when changing volume levels. So first off, the input section. There are 2 stereo balanced 1/4 inch jack inputs on the unit, with a third auxiliary input on a 3.5mm jack socket. None of the input buttons are interlocking, so you can have more than one input active at the same time. Ideal if you want to listen to a mix coming from your DAW or mixing desk, and listen to a musician's mix from their phone or iPod at the same time. The auxiliary input has its own volume level, controlled by the knob on the top left of the unit. There are no trim controls on the input, so you'll need to balance input levels externally using the output level control of whatever devices you've plugged in. The output section features 2 speaker outputs plus a subwoofer output too. Again, they aren't interlocking, so you can have 1, 2 or all 3 speaker outputs active at the same time. So if you want to flick between speaker outputs but keep the sub on, that's easily possible. Both the output levels are controlled by one master volume knob in the middle. Drawmer's own paralleled custom quad volume pot for the main output for precise stereo control. On some monitor controllers you might find that the left-right balance may fluctuate as you turn the volume down to really low levels, but on the CMC2 this doesn't happen. It remains perfectly balanced right the way down to 0. Again, there are no trim controls on the output, so you have to adjust that on your amplifiers or active monitors to get the right level. Once that's all set, it's great for switching between the monitors to A/B them at the same level. On the way up, there's more than enough gain. As it's an active unit, there's plenty of gain available. We've never had to put it past about 1/3 of its capability, with even that probably being a bit too loud for studio use. Around the volume knob, there are the volume mark-ins from 0 to 10, which is actually a new addition. On the Drawmer CMC2.1, the previous model, it had none. We really like this as it just makes it so much easier to bring the volume down for a quiet mono listen to the mix, then straight back up exactly to where you were using the visual reference. The audio quality itself is second to none. The device features a ruler flat frequency response from all the way down at 20Hz right up to an incredible 50 kHz, so you can rely on what you're hearing to be exactly what's coming out of your DAW and that it's not being manipulated before it reaches the speakers. It's so critical that a monitor controller doesn't colour or degrade the audio in any way, and this sounds as close to a piece of straight wire as you'll get. The input and output switching is flawless, with no clicking or popping as the buttons are pressed. There's also no crosstalk between channels, so if you want just input 1, that's exactly what you'll get. The same can be said for the mute button. On some equipment of the same price bracket, you might find certain buttons do what they say on the tin, but not to their full expected ability. You might get a bit of audio bleeding through a mute or other such problems that shouldn't really exist in a pro studio. On the CMC2, this isn't a problem. Mute means mute. Dead silence, as it should be. The other output control is the headphone out. A 1/4 inch jack socket controlled by a separate headphone volume control can again offer a lot of gain, so you can pump the headphones up as loud as you need them. We tested this on our Biodynamic DT990s and, as expected, got plenty of volume at crystal clear quality. This is a separate output level from the main speaker volume knob, so you can have the headphones really loud while you bring the speakers right down, independently of each other. The Drawmer CMC2 is an active device, not passive, which eliminates problems such as interference and unwanted noise, which often plague passive devices. Having long cables can also cause hum in the audio path. Again, this is prevented by the active circuitry in the monitor controller. so you don't have to constrict your audio setup just to reduce cable lengths because of a hum or noisy signal path. This active circuitry is also featured on the CMC 2.1 and 3.1, so it's a well-trusted design. The CMC2 sits at the lower end of the Drawmer Monitor Controller lineup. It lacks certain features such as talkback, which the 3.1 offers, along with the extra outputs and individual speaker cut features of the higher model. But there are often workarounds for that which can save you the extra £450, with the 3.1 coming in at around £700. Obviously, the extra inputs, outputs, band solos and dual headphone outputs can't be emulated on the CMC2, but for the price it's an incredibly high quality piece of equipment, and you can get exactly the same fantastic sound quality as with the higher units in the range, just a few fewer features. We'd like to thank Stefan at KMR Audio in London for supplying the unit. KMR are one of the UK's top pro audio retailers and sell only the finest products from around the world. Their passion, depth of knowledge and superb levels of customer service are second to none, and we highly recommend giving them a shout if you're after one of these. So that's our review of the Drawmer CMC2 Monitor Controller. It's a great bit of kit, it's excellent value for money, and you'll absolutely love it if you want precision and great sound and build quality. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel and share it with all your friends so we can keep doing reviews and interviews and teaching you tips and tricks on how to make your music sound incredible.